Improv Tips with Paul Vaillancourt here. I am back with another improv tip answering another one of your questions that someone sent in. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to send in the questions, and I really love answering them for you. This is from TigerCat109, and the question is, how do you reconcile a consistent point of view with being changeable in a scene? I think that's a really fantastic question because I know that we sort of talk about both of these ideas of being vulnerable to change in a scene in this video, ding ding, and also really having consistent point of view like I talk about in ding ding in this video. So how do I reconcile, or how do I put those things together? Well, first of all, let me say that it kind of, to a certain extent, or in one facet, it depends on what kind of improv you're doing. Right? If you're improvising like in a herald, which I'll talk about mostly in a moment, you're going to sort of really, I think, have a really consistent point of view that doesn't change a ton, with certain exceptions that I'll talk about. But if you're doing something that's more of a narrative piece, then I think a lot of times your character does change. But I think that their point of view in general doesn't change, but how they express it changes, right? So maybe, for example, if you're doing like something narrative, like an improvised movie, which I do sometimes, then maybe you are the small town sheriff and you just want to protect this small town, right? So that's your point of view, protect this small town. Now, originally, maybe you do it by stopping people from doing dangerous things. Stop. So you're sort of a real negative kind of character, stopping people from doing things. But then as time goes on, you discover this creature that's in the woods, then you keep that point of view but expand it in a new way. And now you're proactively going out and trying to catch this monster, trying to stop this monster from killing all the teens in town or whatever, right? So your point of view is the same, but the way it expresses itself changes. And I think in narrative improv especially, I think that's really, that's a very common sort of approach to it. But I think sort of a lot of times, especially people who watch these videos, I think a lot of you all are doing, not short form, you're doing long form improv, but something more like a herald or a montage or a mondo or things like that. So in that case, I think I have a really great answer for you. I think you do both to a certain extent, because I think that a character is a little bit like a rubber band. And if my character is afraid, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm super afraid of everything. And my friend's like, quick, we got to escape. The only way is up this ladder. And then I don't want to go up that ladder. And I could say I don't want to go up this ladder, right? But I've got to, as we know, push myself as an improviser, as a player. I push my character to get into an uncomfortable situation and go up the ladder. So for a moment, I'm sort of acting brave, but that's like a rubber band. I'm stretching my character against its natural state, and eventually it snaps back. Right? Eventually it snaps back. So for the one I think is so simple is like when someone's super talkative and their partner's like, hey man, can you just give me a second of quiet? And they're like, oh yeah, good, second of quiet, you got it. Here we go. Second of quiet, coming in. How's that? That's great, right? And so they they stretch against their character, but eventually they snap back to their natural state, which is being talkative again, right? And I think this sort of like stretching and releasing is super useful to us and super fun to play because it uses tension. It puts tension in the scene where I'm stretching against my normal state and then I'm snapping back and releasing that tension. I'm stretching against my natural state and I'm snapping back to my natural state, releasing that tension. I think that's a really fun dynamic to play. It also opens me up to play against my character, against my point of view, because I'm trying it out. If my partner says, hey, try this out, I always want to try it out, especially if it's something that my character doesn't want to do, you know, because your character is who you are under pressure, or that reveals your character. So if I'm a germaphobe and someone's like, hey, look, you got to clean this toilet, I'm not going to say, no, I'm not going to clean the toilet. I'm going to clean it like a germaphobe would clean it, right? I'm going to show all that angst. I'm going to show all that struggle, but I'm still going to do it. Right? And in the still doing of it, sort of yes in spite, ding, ding, like I talked about in that video there, you stretch your character, stretch it, and then it snaps back. Okay, so I think that we can, so to sum up, in narrative improv, where we're telling longer stories, I think a lot of times we do sort of allow our characters sort of outward sort of representation of their point of view to change, even though their point of view kind of remains the same, but the way it expresses itself changes. But in long form that's not particularly narrative, like the herald or the montage or the armando or Laurent or any of 100 million other forms that are out there. In those cases, I think that we really do cleave very tightly to our point of view and just sort of be changeable in the sense that we stretch and release with that point of view. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. I think this is a pretty interesting technical question. So if you have some thoughts about this, about staying consistent versus being changeable, let me know, ding ding, down below, and share it with the community and let everybody in on what you're thinking. Okay, and that's it. And I'll see you next week. Hey friends, thanks for checking out the video. And if you want to hear a little bit more, check out one of these 2 quality videos. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and follow us on social media. All the links are in the description down below. And let me know what you would like to see an improv tip about. Thanks for watching.